Hey team, so recovery after 50 may not be what you actually think it is. So today I'm going to dive into talking a little bit about recovery and how it has changed significantly for me after the age of 50, and maybe it has for you. So let's get started. Back in my 30s or even in my 40s, I could stack, those tough sessions back to back and still get away with it. But now if I do one tough CrossFit session in a week, it feels like I've been hit by a bus, and it lasts, for days on end. And that, muscle soreness or the overall just fatigue really hits me and lingers. So that has definitely changed from my 40s to my 50s. So I did what any normal rational person would do. I jumped down a rabbit hole of recovery to see what I could do to improve mine, because there is so much generic advice out there telling you to, drink water, sleep more, eat more protein, don't miss your protein feeding window, whatever. And obviously, in my opinion, I think that's all a load of BS and doesn't actually make any difference. Well, not to me anyway. So let's chat about what actually does make a difference. Now here's the thing, in this voyage of discovery, one of the first things I learned is that recovery isn't passive. So it isn't sitting down watching your favorite Netflix show, slice of pizza in one hand, beer in the others, dozing in and out of consciousness, and that's not recovery. That's just sabotage in disguise. Turns out that recovery is actually something you do, and in fact I'd go so far as to say recovery is the workout for your nervous system, immune system, and your mind. I'm a CrossFit Age Group Semifinalist and I train hard, but I'm also a psychology graduate, and I'm diving into ACT, which is acceptance and commitment therapy. And I know that your brain, just as much as your body, needs to recover too. So cognitive overload is real, and your body needs to take a rest in the same way as your brain needs to take a rest in the same way as your body does. So here's what recovery looks like for me. 2 to 3 CrossFit sessions per week. That's it. Quality over quantity. Zone 2 cardio on the off days. Low impact, high benefits, and I've discussed Zone 2 and my cardio protocol in previous videos, so if you want to have a look at those, check out my previous videos for that. One medium level of intensity. One medium intensity strength or skill day. No booze post-workout. It wrecks my sleep and tanks recovery metrics like HRV, and you feel like shit the next day after a tough workout when you have a bit of booze and you haven't hydrated properly, and all of those sensible things that you should be doing anyway. Hydration I mentioned already. Hydrate like it's my job, and although I finished late, I try to have some wind down time before I hit the sack. That just helps me download from a busy, stressful day. I do weekly yoga. My hamstrings, I have to say, are still suspicious, but we're in negotiations. Counseling, yep, that is therapy for the brain. And guitar lessons, which is creative recovery also for my brain. So there are a number of the things that I do for my recovery. They're not passive, they're things I've actively chosen to my schedule, and they are in my diary, and they're, as far as possible, non-negotiables on a weekly basis. Without recovery, there is no growth. You're not getting fitter if you're not recovering. And in fact, you're just stacking fatigue and resentment and eventually injury. So that voice in your head that shouts, no excuses, well, it means well, but it's not necessarily the best coach that you should be listening to. And in truth, you don't actually have to listen to it. Having studied the acceptance and commitment therapy, it is something that you can definitely notice, but you don't actually have to pay it any attention. Sometimes the strongest move is choosing to rest on purpose. Recovery isn't one size fits all, but it certainly is non-negotiable. And you could ask yourself, what do I need physically, mentally, emotionally right now? Where is my recovery leaking energy? And what is one small change I could make this week to facilitate better recovery? So guys, recovery isn't the absence of work, it is the work.